All righty, we are live. Hello, hello, and welcome everyone to Wonder Wednesday. It is Wonder Series Wednesday, where I am here every single week to answer the questions that, well, you've been wondering about. Whether it's about your health, your wellness, your personal development, or bringing some more fun back into life, that is what we are here to help you with, to expand and grow and live the healthy, happy lifestyle that you have been dreaming of. Today, I'm really excited. I always have a lot of fun with my special guest, who I talk to pretty much every day. She is my pal, my business bestie, my sister from another mister, Suzanne Taylor King.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. So Suzanne is, she is the CEO, CFO, the COO, the every kind of CO, whatever, of Tailored Consulting. She's a business strategist and entrepreneur coach who uses NLP and positive psychology to help her clients get to that next level in their business and also in their life. So, hey, Suzanne, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Things are good. It's crazy. I can't believe it's already Wednesday.
I know. This week is flying by.
It definitely is. And there's only a million things to still do, right?
Of course. There's always a million things to do when you're an entrepreneur.
Always. And as an entrepreneur, I think this is really important. The month of May at Living Healthy List, we are talking about recommitment, recommitting to whatever it is that we need to recommit to. And I always find that the spring is the perfect time for this. And of course, I'm in Minnesota, so the spring is a little late here. It really does start in May. And so this is the perfect time for that rebirth, that regrowth, that recommitment. And so when it comes to business and life, because we know, as we talk about on the Crooked Climb, that nothing in life and business is linear and that everything does go together. It's not, you don't have one or the other, you have both. And we're always trying to find some kind of a happy medium, so to speak.
Yeah.
When it comes, tell me, what's your thoughts when it comes to like just the topic of recommitting?
Well, I love recommitting to goals or habits. It's one of the things I do pretty regularly and almost on a daily basis because I journal every morning. And one of the things I love to put in my journal is how I'm committed to showing up that day, energy-wise, work-wise, and love-wise. So those three categories for me and for numerous other people that, I've worked with, they're really, it hits everything. Energy, so that's me, and work is everything work, and love is everything relationships, from you to my husband to my family, to my followers. Like, what am I giving? How do I want to show up? And I decide every morning with a couple words, nothing too elaborate, but how I want to show up that day. And for me, being a vibrant soul force, energy-wise, is how I want to show up. But most recently, for this spring, it's been a recommitment to my fitness routine. And I actually decided to name that journey Recovered Athlete. And if I show up every day as a recovered athlete, the stories of injury and being out of shape they don't go with that.
Yeah.
So I've kind of used the recommitting rather than being 99% in. I'm 100% in on recommitting to living that lifestyle of an athlete. So I love the idea of, deciding that you're going to recommit to something.
I love the fact that you mentioned, you can recommit to something every single day. It doesn't have to be this huge endeavor. It's kind of like what we talk about, with healthy habits. It's those little steps, those little habit changes that make for really big changes down the road. So just by recommitting to yourself and whatever it might be every day, taking that time really could take us from where we are today steps closer and closer to where we want to be, whether it's tomorrow, next week, next year, down the road, reaching those goals that we actually want to commit to or recommit to.
Well, absolutely. And I think so many times with the overachieving personality that I have, right? Like I have big goals. I have big things I want to do. I always think I can get more done in a day than actually happens. But with that in mind, you can't recommit to something. You can't commit to something unless you're really clear on what you want to do. And we know that tiny changes, tiny habits are much more effective when we tackle them, those little bits at a time. So recommitting every day on a small level really makes me feel so much more. I'm attaching it to another habit, my journaling habit, but I'm also, making that mental statement to myself. That's how I want to show up today. That's what I'm going to do. And if I get in the situation where there's wine or chocolate or the choice not to exercise, I said, ooh, I wanted to show up as a recovered athlete today. And what would that person do in this situation? They would exercise. They would say no to the Oreo cookies, and they would say no to the sugar in the coffee, right? So it's like, how does that person show up and then do those things?
I think it also, so as you're talking, it really also sounds like being mindful is a big piece of this recommitting on a daily basis. Because like you said, it's not putting the sugar in your coffee. If you're used to putting sugar in your coffee and you're not thinking about it, but you're trying, I'm going to cut back on sugar, but you're not thinking, you pour the coffee and then you just kind of go for the sugar. All of a sudden that recommitting to that or committing to that idea of reducing the sugar kind of goes out the window. So that mindfulness piece is such a big part of recommitting to what it is.
I think that's any habit that you choose. I mean, if you choose to recommit to your primary love relationship, for example, maybe you haven't been spending as much time together because you've been working so much, or maybe you've spent too much time together over the last year and a half and you're taking each other for granted. And maybe you need to recommit to that, but doing one small thing per week or per day, 5 minutes a day over coffee, connecting with your partner, and that can make all the difference in the world, so it lessens misunderstandings, it increases connection, and, depending on what you're trying to recommit to, just doing those little small things, 5 minutes a day, and bringing some mindfulness to it, absolutely, really, really, really helps bring that awareness in.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you're right. The last year and a half has been quite tough for everybody because everybody's working from home. And so your partner's always there. Your husband's always there. Mine just walked in the door. I can hear him walking around upstairs. And so you're right. You could kind of take each other for granted because he's there. He's always going to be there. But you're right. Those conversations, those 5-minute conversations, just to connect on a different level. So much of life in a relationship is about stuff that you have to do anyway. It's I just got a new car. I have to get the car insurance. We have to do that. Like those are things that you kind of have to do anyway. But it's that 20% of the time when you actually can focus on each other, that I think really strengthens a relationship and really can bring that relationship to the next level.
Oh my gosh. I remember years ago, my husband and I took like this I want to say marriage course, but it was really just a course in how to be a couple, it was a positive psychology, live happy together kind of
Mhm.
thing. And I remember the task was to spend, 5 minutes over coffee once a day or
Mhm.
a glass of wine at night, five
I'll
minutes,
go for that.
maybe 10.
Mhm.
And then once a week to spend 4 hours together without kids, without TV, not talking about kids, not talking about work. And I was like, what the heck are we going to talk about? Oh my God. And we really had to get creative in the beginning until we found golf and music and movies and people. And it, it, it was quite the effort to commit to that. So I know when I give that task to other entrepreneurs, they're like, what? Go on a date and not talk about the kids or work? Like, what the heck are you having me do here?
Mhm.
But what happens is you get a renewed sense of the person.
Mhm.
And if you're recommitting to your own personal goals, like me, fitness or food or whatever, it's like
Mhm.
getting to know yourself on that deeper level and bringing that mindfulness to
Mhm.
it. And I remember distinctly going away on vacation with my family without my phone a couple years ago. Now, of course, I had my phone
Mhm.
with me, but we were on a cruise ship and I didn't get the Wi-Fi package. And I had anxiety over like, oh my God, what if somebody
I feel
needs
you. I
me?
feel you.
Yeah, it was. And I thought, okay, anybody who truly needs me is here on this trip with me.
Mhm.
So I can do this. I can
Mhm.
commit to a week away without social media, without email, and just using my phone to take
Mhm.
pictures.
Mhm.
And I loved it so much. Well, it took 3 days
Yeah.
to
That's
really
still a
love
good lot
it.
of vacation though.
And then I wanted to do it again because it was so meaningful to commit to a vacation, commit to being a family without electronics, and realizing how much time and energy I was spending doing phone stuff.
Mhm.
Um, that was a really big eye opener for me.
I can imagine. And as you're saying this, I know this particular weekend, Mark and I are headed up north.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm already freaking how far north? Pretty north. And we don't get great cell service up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually was thinking, okay, the phone's not such a big deal. I'm actually considering not bringing my computer because that, on a weekend, and as entrepreneurs, it's really hard not to work on a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
This particular weekend, I am going to do my best to actually to commit and recommit, because I say this to myself every weekend and I always end up working for a few hours, is to recommit to having the weekend as my time, but also as our time.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah, let's
actually,
do it.
let's do it.
Let's commit right now to you
Absolutely.
not taking your laptop this
Okay.
weekend. And gosh, it's only 2 days and you've been working so hard for the last 2 years on your business. And 2 days is not going to make any difference in the growth and the development of your
Mhm.
business. And I think that's really important to remember
Mhm.
that, what did we do before electronics? Honestly, nobody worked on the weekend.
That's true. Everybody played on the weekend. Oh, that's something to recommit to, going out and playing for this weekend.
Yeah,
That sounds like
I
fun.
love it. I love
Okay,
it.
so I'm going to commit to that. I am definitely going to commit to that. I've got your buy-in too.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody out there watching, I would like to see at some point on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching us or watching the replay, I want you to tell us, like, who's going to recommit to
Yeah.
actually enjoying this weekend, recommitting to yourself, recommitting to your family and your relationships, and see where that goes. See how you feel on Monday morning.
Yeah, well, I already know that you will feel different on Monday morning. And especially if Sunday night you don't try to sneak onto electronics and check your email before Monday morning.
Yeah.
I only know because I've done it numerous times. But I'm doing it this weekend too. It's Mother's Day on Sunday. My son wants to do something. I always celebrate my mom on Mother's Day, who passed away in 2004. And I don't know, like there's something magical about being disconnected for even one day. And that might be a new practice for me, is one day a week, maybe every Sunday, being disconnected and not looking at social media, not looking at email. That would be a good commitment, a good recommit to being more disconnected.
I think, and that's a mental and emotional thing that you're recommitting to, because I mean, how much time we spend on social media, and of course we're on social media right now, but it serves a purpose to a degree, but at some point it is time to step back, because it's not your whole being. It's not your whole business, nor mine.
Yeah.
And I think that's really an important piece to recommit to, is social media has its place, and to use it where it makes sense, and then to step back and do something different, do something else.
Well, I actually challenged my mastermind group this morning to come off of social media for a little bit and re-look at your surroundings, as far as your zip code, your town, the neighborhood that you live in, and where are you missing opportunities to connect with people, to meet new people that might live right next door to you, because you're so busy focused on social media. And I know I built my whole business, in person, and then went online. So I was used to meeting people, cultivating leads, getting interest in person.
Yeah.
And people who are doing it the opposite way, they're online first.
Right.
They have to be taught to kind of go out into the real world and meet people, go to events, go to listen to a talk, go to a networking event now that things are starting to open back up in person, and make sure you follow up with people and attract them into your world. So, and I think we need that.
I think you make a good point, because in the last year and a half, we've gotten comfortable just being home, and this being our only means of communication. And on the one hand, it's great because it did fill a need. But at the same time, the more we just talk online and really have online relationships, the real personal connection starts to fade. And then, we've talked about, the millennials and the younger kids, like they don't know how to communicate because they're always on their phones and blah, blah, blah. Well, we're just kind of a step behind them.
Yeah.
In a way, because of all of this with Zoom and all of the online stuff that we do, that it is time to recommit to actually engaging with people face to face.
Yeah. Yeah. And to feel safer doing it, after the last year and a half, I think that should be part of everybody's recommitment for May, realizing that we can start to get out and see people a little bit more. I had coffee with someone on Monday that I hadn't seen in a year.
Oh, wow.
And I texted her when I was on my way, and with an emoji like, warning, there's going to be a hug, and you can't say no. Like, I don't care. And
no, it's true. I think that's
we're missing that.
Yeah, we're really missing that human contact. It's funny that we're talking about this. I was going through Living Healthy List the other day, and one of the most popular blog post is actually from Luann Beekler, who is here in Rochester, or she's here in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And it was about the virtual hug, because we were so in the beginning just so lacking in like, what do we do? Even if you saw somebody, if you were still at work or you saw them in the grocery store, you wanted to grab them, but you kind of have to do the, I'm hugging you, really. I'm hugging me, but I'm hugging you. And that was great. That's great when it has its place, but nothing can replace like the love and the feel and the warmth and the true joy of hugging one another and that physical contact.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely going to be some long-term effects with people, and I just want to encourage everyone to practice with the people that are in your house, and then let it spread out from there as appropriate and as safe. But anytime you spend a year and a half doing things differently, it's gonna be a habit. So for years in the future, it's going to be a habit for people to go into the grocery store and keep to themselves and stay farther apart. And you know what I mean? And we're going to have to re-engage our personalities. At least I talk to strangers all the time, and I do miss that.
Yeah. I talk to people at the grocery store all the time. You're standing in an aisle, like, I know. I miss that, because you're right. When you go to the stores now, people are, everyone's trying to be cautious for themselves, but really also thinking about others. And so it really has become this feeling of, you're really alone. Even when you're around in a store around other people, you still really feel alone. And I think being around other people and really finding a way to recommit to reconnecting with people is really, I hope this spring, something that we can all recommit to.
Yeah. I can't wait just to not have a mask on anymore, to be able to see people's smile and facial expressions. That's one of the things that I've always just naturally done. And I definitely feel more disconnected not having that experience. So I look forward to that.
I just lost you. Oh, that's okay. There you go. I think you're back.
Can you still hear me?
Now I can. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. A phone call came in. I forgot to block the phone calls when I'm on StreamYard. I think moving forward, I'm really excited about recommitting. That's going to be my course for Living Healthy List Academy, is a midlife reboot, which is really about recommitting to that person you want to be after 40 years old.
Awesome. I love it. I'm looking forward to that one. After 40, after 50, we'll have a reboot. After every 10 years, we'll have a new reboot.
Does that come with a retreat also?
Possibly. I like that. We have to rethink that one.
I would definitely recommit to that one.
And on that note, we will recommit to that and
revisit.
Thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, let's revisit
at another time, not too far in the future.
That sounds awesome.
Suzanne, real quick, one last thing. Everybody's kind of at that stage where, okay, we want to recommit to one thing. Give somebody the number one first thing that they should do to recommit to whatever it is that they feel is important, whether it's their health, their relationships. What's the first, just one quick tip?
Tell somebody.
Ooh, I like it. Awesome.
Yeah. Tell somebody. Write it down and tell somebody. By telling somebody, you're holding yourself accountable. We tend to lie to ourselves much more than we would lie to someone else. So by me committing out loud to husband, son, you, Facebook, that holds me accountable up to a higher standard. So number one, tell somebody.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Susan, thank you. It's
Welcome.
always so much fun. We have fun anyway, but being online and being able to share our conversations and our thoughts with those who are listening is really a lot of fun. So thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. For those of you who are listening live, or if you're listening to the replay, please pop over to livinghealthylist.com and check out our website, see what we've got going on. There's always something new and exciting. The May magazine, Healthy Living, Happy Life, will be out at the end of the week. So you can find that right there on livinghealthylist.com. And if you're not on our mailing list, get on that mailing list, get your freebies. We've got all sorts of fun things that we do at Living Healthy List, if it's work related, health related, food related. You've got questions, we've got answers. Thank you so much for being with us here on Wonder Series Wednesday. And if you have questions that you've been wondering about, email me and we'll answer them on another call. Thanks, everyone. Bye.